You may have noticed if you use Steam that Overwatch 2 has recently been added onto it, and that the people on Steam have not taken kindly to that, as you can tell by the overwhelmingly negative reviews, with only 9% of people giving it a positive review. Now, I'm not a fan of Blizzard, and a majority of their games I don't have any interest in, and Overwatch has some fair things to criticise, but I think this is overdoing a lot. So I'm going to go through some of the reviews, ignoring all the interesting ones, and see what I think is right to criticise and what isn't. Enjoy the video. This first review is all around pretty good and definitely shits on the right parts, besides one thing that I have to disagree with, which is the balancing. Overwatch, like most games in this genre, has some problems with balancing. However, since about Season 3, the game has been in one of its best balanced states compared to most other points in Overwatch's lifespan, especially with the removal of a lot of CC and the removal of the extra tank, which, although I find a bit more fun, is much harder to balance than one tank. There definitely has been some problems, such as Cassidy's new nade, the massive Junker Queen buff, and Roadhog being extremely terrible, but overall the game is very well balanced. The rest of the review is very fair. People who bought Overwatch 1 close to the end of its lifespan got screwed over pretty hard, and Blizzard really isn't that trustworthy when it comes to their process of monetization. Moving on. This second review has some parts that are good, and some that suck. The first part about the story mode is subjective. I'm personally liking the story missions and the direction it's going in so far, but others disagree, and that's okay. However, the part I heavily disagree with is the part about the new heroes being unmemorable. If there's one thing this game has done right, it's the new heroes since Overwatch 2's release. Kiriko, Sojourn, Ramattra, Junker Queen, Lifeweaver, and Illari. There has been some problems with them, such as Sojourn being broken for a while, Junker Queen getting giga buffed, Ramattra pretty much having infinite ult and release, and Lifeweaver being, well, Lifeweaver. However, the balance team has fixed all these issues for the most part, and these characters are some of the most memorable and most liked characters, especially Ramattra and Kiri, who a majority of people like a lot. Blizzard so far continues to deliver on great new heroes, with the introduction of Illari, who has already become known for having a fun, high skill ceiling kit, although I definitely think it needs some balancing, but that will come with time and people learning how to deal with her. For the rest of the review, I already talked about the balancing earlier, but it's funny that they bring up Roadhog when he's terrible at the moment and was only powerful in early seasons. Kinda shows how outdated some of these are despite them being written just a day or two ago, and how little time these people have really spent on the game. This third review is definitely the best one. The creator of this really digs into the horrible business model this game has and how overpriced a lot of the stuff is, which it definitely is. To be a bit fair to Blizzard, they do have to compete with games like Valorant and Apex who have similar prices, but overall, the monetization in this game is quite ridiculous. Whilst this doesn't bring it up, I do want to quickly talk about some of the ones that complain about needing to buy the new characters in Overwatch 2. I think this argument has no real weight to it. You can very quickly earn these characters and most beginner players will have at least one by the time they unlock competitive. I did see one that complained about this being a counterpick game, but not having everything unlocked, when in reality most beginner players won't care about counterpicking, and the people who do will be experienced enough with the game and its characters to have all the characters unlocked anyway. The last review and argument I want to cover is the Overwatch 2 is the same game as Overwatch 1 argument. Yes, these games are very similar and work in similar ways, but there are clear differences that separate the two, being the new characters, switch to 5v5, and the new game modes and maps that have come out. And remember, you are getting all these things for free. It would be a problem if Overwatch 2 costed £40, but all the gameplay besides the new missions is free. However, I do recognise that the 3 years spent working on the game just for that stuff really isn't worth it for some people, and that's fair, but as a newer player, I don't really have any complaints here. Most of these reviews are fairly solid and have their criticisms, the good ones mainly being towards Blizzard themselves for their monetization of the game. However, I think this review bombing is going to be putting a lot of people off of a really fun and rewarding game, so if you are watching this and haven't played the game, give it a shot. If it's not for you, fair enough, but maybe it is, and maybe it will become one of your favourite games like it did for me. Overall, I think this game really doesn't deserve all the hate it gets, and I really hope people start to pick up and realise how great it is, especially with the new season and all the content that has been brought with it. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed.